Good time of day to you, everybody, and welcome to A Room. This is a show called Questionable Taste, the only show on the internet where we try to determine if buying store brand is in fact better. I'm Brandon. I'm thrilled you're here. Let's talk about what we're trying to accomplish here today. Pop-Tarts, right? We're all familiar with Pop-Tarts. Come in a variety of flavors. Today we're going to talking about specifically the strawberry Pop-Tart. Frosted Strawberry Pop-Tart. Something kids have been begging their moms for decades and decades. What we're going to do is we're going to taste test this compared to our great value Walmart brand toaster pastries. I'm going to try and guess which one's the real deal, which one's the pretender, and determine if whether or not the store brand is in fact worth spending the extra money for. So with that said, let's talk about Pop-Tarts for a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Pop-Tarts. So we need to understand how the Pop-Tart came to be. In order to do that, let's jump back to the 1960s in the USA. Kellogg's rushed the development of a toaster pastry when their rival Post released a product called Country Squares, little fruit-filled pastries you could put in a toaster, push it down, comes out nice and hot that you could eat for breakfast. Kellogg's rushed it once it was announced and was able to release their product, then not known by the name Pop-Tarts, but rather known as fruit scones. Now, after a few years of this, they mercifully changed the name over to Pop-Tarts, something that it's much better at sticking in the brain, easier for kids to say to their moms, tugging on their leg to buy them from the store. And the rest, as they say, is history. Since then, Kellogg's has released over 20 flavors of Pop-Tart. And not only that, just the name Pop-Tart has become ubiquitous in reference to any type of toaster pastry. I have yet to meet anybody who calls these things just toaster pastries. They're all Pop-Tarts, right? Let's be honest with each other. So, looking at this, we've got our Pop-Tarts. They look good, nice, blue box. We all recognize it. And then we have our great value toaster pastries in a red box. Shockingly, kind of stands out on the grocery shelf right here with little designs, little pictures of strawberries on there. Right? Now, I really like Pop-Tarts. I always have. The problem with them, as I've grown older, I've become less and less tolerant of certain types of foods. Like the breakfast cereal always messes me up, and Pop-Tarts kind of belongs on that list. I take a bite of a Pop-Tart, it makes my mouth feel weird. I swallow it. My tummy feels nasty for the next couple hours, but I'm not one of those pretentious foodies who are like, I'm never gonna eat that. I'll eat a Pop-Tart every once in a while. I just know that down the road I'm gonna be paying for it a little later, which is fine, right? But just know that I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for science, and we're gonna get through this. And we're gonna do a good job, and we're gonna get to the bottom of which one you should buy. Now let's compare the two, right? Now, I bought these. Obviously, I got the great value at Walmart, but I also purchased the Pop-Tarts from Walmart at the same time. And the Pop-Tarts sold for $2.62. I don't think it was on sale or anything. I think that's a regular price. And the great value toaster pastries I got for $1.12. Okay, now obviously the great value came out a lot less, but it also is worth noting that the Pop-Tarts came in a box of 8. And the great value toaster pastries came in a box of 6. But even accounting for that, we're looking at 33 cents per Pop-Tart. And we are looking at about 19 cents per great value toaster pastry. So you're still getting significant savings going for that smaller box without the name brand recognition. Okay. Now looking at the packaging, looking at calorie content. Now this is where things get even more interesting, right? We're looking at 400 calories per two toaster pastries for the great value, right? So they come in little packs of two. You eat both of them, you're getting 400 calories. The Pop-Tarts, for two of them, you're coming in at only 370 calories for the two, okay? There is a difference in protein, 4 grams of protein in the great value, 3 grams of protein in the Pop-Tarts. Let's see, yeah, there's a lot there. Looking at the ingredients, okay, let's see. Enriched wheat flour, both have those. Vitamin B1 is in the flour. Okay, then the second ingredient in the Pop-Tarts. So Pop-Tarts, flour is the first ingredient. Corn syrup is the second ingredient. High fructose corn syrup is the third ingredient. Looking at this, we got enriched wheat flour, corn syrup, sugar, high fructose corn syrup in the great value. So we got some actual real sugar in there. Dextrose, palm oil. No, so I mean, looking at this, at the ingredients list, we're looking at a lot of similar things, just in slightly different order. So yeah, we're not looking at this. Notable here, though, when I'm looking at this, so we actually got strawberry juice concentrate, white grape juice concentrate. So we got 2 juice concentrates over here in the great value. I'm not seeing any juice concentrates in the Pop-Tarts. However, what we're looking at here, dried strawberries, so it has actual strawberries in it, dried pears, dried apples in the Pop-Tart. So maybe that'll come through in the flavor. We have yet to find out. So yeah, there's a lot of differences there in the ingredients here. That's pretty cool. But I mean, the product comes out pretty close to looking the same. Okay, so let's take a look at the Pop-Tarts themselves. All right, so I don't know which is which. I'm just going to show you one and then the other, and then we'll make a guess. So here we have candidate number 1. All right, looking at this, the frosting is kind of slapped on there. We got some sprinkles on there, green, yellow, red, orange sprinkles. You can see it has little vent holes poked in the top pastry for steam to escape once it's hot, and they are pretty big too. Here is number 2. Now this one is slightly larger. This one has, they both have pink sprinkles. This one doesn't have any orange sprinkles on it. No orange sprinkles, but also, surprisingly enough, the frosting is slapped on there in kind of a slapdash method. Neither of these are cleanly frosted. I would think if you were spending more for a Pop-Tart, that icing would be a little more even across, but neither of these have a clean icing on them. If you look at this one, the icing is actually really thick here in the middle, and then you have a little bit here at the bottom. It kind of spills over the top. I'm wondering if it's going through an automated machine and just craps out icing. This was slightly out of alignment for one batch, and it kind of got a little bit from the next Pop-Tart onto the bottom of that one. This one is just kind of all over the place. Looks like someone just kind of threw a glob of icing at it and smeared it on there and said, hey, we're good to go. We have a Pop-Tart ready for you. So here's how things are going to go moving forward. I'm going to get these Pop-Tarts in a toaster. I'm going to toast them. I'm going to get me a glass of water to cleanse my palate. We're going to taste. We're going to have an ASMR moment. I'm going to try. I'm going to eat them in the microphone. Really, really let you have a cornucopia of the senses as we test these. I'm going to talk about their tastes, and then we are going to pop open our results, which are written here on a little index card that tells me which one is which. And I'll make some final conclusions. So sit tight, and I'll be right back with these Pop-Tarts out of the toaster. All right, we are back. Thanks for waiting. So I got two piping hot Pop-Tarts or toaster pastries sitting here right in front of me. And I've got my palate cleanser right there that I can eat in between. So visually, talk about these. Okay, they both kind of browned nice and evenly along the edges there, as you can see right there. Okay, the smell, let's smell. Okay, interesting on the smell. Okay, so toaster pastry 1 right here. This is the one with the bigger steam holes in the actual pastry top. Smells like cooked pastry, right? Number 2, which has the smaller steam holes cut in the top. I'm actually getting like really strong artificial strawberry smell coming through those. So yeah, that's the look. That's the smell. Without further ado, let's get into the taste. So I'm going to be eating these in the microphone to give you an ASMR moment. So feel free to sit back, relax, close your eyes. I'm going to eat these toaster pastries. You're going to hear every bit of it. Okay, here we go. This is candidate number 1. This is the one we talked about earlier with the large holes and with kind of the globbed on thick piece of frosting in there. So let's go. Let's dig in. I'll hold my plate right here. Okay, that's gross. I don't like eating this in a microphone. All right. So the pastry part of it gets a little gluey, kind of sticks together. Looking at that fruit layer there, I see that. Let's see if it'll zoom, focus in on that. Right there. Oh, it's a little fuzzy, but that's okay. Decent amount of that strawberry jam. But really, you can't taste the filling all that much. I'm not getting a ton of strawberry, sweet strawberry tartness coming through there. Yeah. I don't know. Now, here's something I always used to do as a kid. I'd get a piece that didn't have any edges on it, and I would squish it and kind of pull it apart to see how much was there. There's a decent amount of filling in there, but I'm not getting a lot of... There's a little bit of tang in there. But yeah, I'm kind of like not super overwhelmed by the strawberry flavor in number 1. Now, is it good? I mean, sure, it's fine. It's adequate. But I'd be disappointed if you put one of these in front of me for breakfast. Well, I mean, yeah, because in about 3 or 4 hours after I eat this, I'm about to destroy a toilet. But flavor-wise, no, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. All right, so let's move on to number 2. Cleanse the palate. Okay, number 2. Okay, now looking at this one, this was our one that was much more just kind of like rubbed on. The bigger one of the 2. Remember, 1 was a little bit smaller than number 2 in comparison. So let's look at this. Breaks nice and clean. The filling in this one looks to be a lot less viscous than the filling in number 1. Now here I am looking in this piece that I just broke off, and there's a little bit of gap. It tends to stick to the top and the bottom with a little bit. It's not exactly like gushing out, but it does seem a little less thick than the filling in the first one. So let's get a taste. Oh, yeah. Definitely can taste a difference off the bat. The filling in this one is much more noticeable, much more sweet. I'm not getting any tang, any zestiness. In number one, when you could taste the filling in a bite, it just has a hint of tartness in it, right? This one, I'm not getting any tartness. This one's just clobbering you over the head with sweetness. Yeah. All right. So these are, in fact, different. Yeah, see, look at that filling kind of gushing out there. Lots of filling in this one. Very sweet. But not like... Well, yeah. It is kind of an amount of sweetness that'll make you go cross-eyed. Pretty sweet. And I know that boils down to personal preference if you like these things really sweet or not. So if you do, then I would say definitely take number 2 over number 1. Let's try number 1 again. Here we go. Okay. Here comes number 2. Get a good middle bite. Okay. All right. So, looking at those two, I actually am like pretty surprised, to be honest, that there was that much of a difference in them. I was expecting them to taste pretty much the same, to be honest. Lots of sugar, lots of sweetness, and not much difference between the two. But there actually are pretty huge differences in between them. Number 1, like I said earlier, a little bit of tartness in the fruit filling, but at the same time, you couldn't taste it that often. You were mostly getting just pastry flavor without a ton of sugar. That isn't to say it's not sweet. It is sweet, but it's just not overpoweringly sweet. Number 2, you get that. You can taste the strawberry. You can taste the sweetness. It is very sweet. Was it too sweet for me? I'd say no. I think you kind of expect something, some type of sweetness when you're eating a Pop-Tart. And I think it delivered on that front. Now, was I necessarily disappointed by number 1? No, I wasn't disappointed by 1. But it boils down to me just liking number 2 better, right? So my conclusion here is tough to guess because it's like, which one's the Pop-Tart? Which one isn't? So just based off the ingredient list, okay? After the flour, the Great Value toaster pastry had corn syrup, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, whereas the Pop-Tart just had the 2 corn syrups and no sugar. So we're talking 3 different types of sugars versus 1. And I know this isn't scientific, but in my brain it makes sense. So I'm going to say number 2 was the Great Value. Number 1 was the Pop-Tart. Now, here are my results. Let's see if I got it right. These were written out by my lovely assistant prior to me starting to record this. And we'll see what she did. Check that out. Great value 2, Pop-Tart 1. I nailed it. And on top of that, okay, and I am going to say this definitively, and this is going to apply throughout the rest of history. The great value Frosted Strawberry Toaster Pastry is the superior experience to that of the Frosted Strawberry Pop-Tart. The sweetness hits different. It's good. The flavors in the Pop-Tart itself, the Kellogg's brand, is a little more complex to get that tartness in it, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't meet the expectations you have while eating a Pop-Tart. I'm actually surprised. So with that said, we are going to induct on this, the very first episode of Questionable Taste, our first entry into the Hall of Champions, the Great Value Frosted Strawberry Toaster Pastry, which by taste is superior to our Kellogg's Pop-Tarts. Give them a hand. Great value. You pulled it out. You are cheaper. You're sweeter. And just a better experience. Not to mention the size. I mean, I guess you could have put 2 and 2 together at 400 calories in these as opposed to 370 in the Pop-Tarts. But you're just getting a great value out of the great value in this case. So give it up for the Great Value Pop-Tarts, for the Great Value Toaster Pastries, for their victory over the Pop-Tarts. Now, there are lots of flavors to do. I don't think I'm going to stop here on the strawberry. I mean, we can compare, cherry. I think I saw one of the popular flavors is the s'more Pop-Tarts, right? Great Value makes a s'more, so we could do those on a later episode. I'm really excited to find out about those. But as for Frosted Strawberry, Great Value takes the cake. I was able to tell the difference. I guessed correctly. Even more important, as a point of personal pride, I got it right. And they're better. Go out. Get the Great Value over the Pop-Tarts, guys. You won't be disappointed. So, yeah, that wraps up our first episode of Questionable Taste. Again, I've been Brandon. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on a later episode. Have a wonderful day.